All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Marilyn's Cafe Society radio show here on Marilyn's Cafe Society's YouTube channel. Today is Saturday, May 26th, 2018. And of course, we just have 219 days left in this year. Let's make them all count, all right? All right. So how are you doing? How was your week? I had a pretty good week. It flew by. And of course, we're getting that summer-like weather here in the Chicagoland area. I am loving it, although I wish, I'm not going to complain because it was cold long enough for me. But I just wish that we could have more 70s. You know, if we could have just kind of eased into summer and not jumped so fast. But nevertheless, here's what the National Weather Service is saying for this Memorial Day weekend. Of course, today we're supposed to hit 90, tomorrow 93, and Monday, Memorial Day, 92 degrees. So it's going to be hot, you guys. Be ready. And, you know, with the heat index, sometimes it can feel even hotter than what the air temperature is. So be careful as well. Now, by Tuesday here in the area, things are supposed to cool off a bit and we'll experience some 80s. Love the 80s and especially the 70s. My goodness, good weather, good weather. All right. So again, it's Memorial Day weekend and it just crept up on me. I was speaking with an associate, a friend of mine, and I think it was Wednesday. She was like, you know, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. And I went, oh my goodness. It just snuck up on me. So I don't have any big plans, but you know, I'm pretty spontaneous. I'll whip something up. We'll do something. I still have a couple of days before Monday gets here. So we'll see what happens. In the in-between time, I know you guys heard this. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but sadly, there has been another school shooting. Now, this one happened in Noblesville, Indiana, not too far from Indianapolis, Indiana. Apparently, there was a science class happening on Friday morning around 9 a.m. at Noblesville West Middle School, and a student asked to be dismissed from the class, and he returned and started shooting. And of course, the science teacher, Jason Seaman, jumped into action, and according to many, is now hailed a hero. He averted what could have potentially been a catastrophic situation. He took 3 bullets himself. As of yesterday, he had surgery. It's reported that he is recovering well and doing just fine. Now, there was a student, a young lady, a girl whose name has not been released, who was injured in this shooting as well, and she remains in critical condition. Just a shocker, but I think we can all just be happy that it, you know, wasn't as bad as it could have been. So that's all I'm going to say about that, you know, and we just have to maintain our diligence and you know, educators, we're rounding down the days, counting the days to the end of the school year. And, you know, you just don't know what's going on sometimes, but just pay attention and, you know, take action like this young man did to avert things from going totally awry. All right. All right, ready for On This Day in History? Well, here it is. Back in 1994, Michael Jackson broke many hearts when he said, I do. Yeah, he got married back in 1994. Remember, he married Lisa Marie Presley. It was all over the press. Everybody was talking about it. And all those young ladies who thought it was going to be them, who dreamed of becoming the wife of Michael Jackson, had their hopes dashed. So just 4 years prior to that, back in 1990, on this day in history, Michael Jackson received the Billboard Magazine Music of the 1980s Award. Yeah, he was the man, I tell you. And then even back before then, in 1968, on this day in history, Michael Jackson and his brothers, better known as the Jackson 5, signed to Motown Records. Yeah, remember those songs? ABC. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, and stop the love you say may be your own. I'll be there and I want you back. I know those. Now, those were released, I believe, late 68, 69, but the staying power of those songs lasted well into the 70s. And as you can see how I just behaved, they still are songs that we all hold close to our heart, right? All right. And so if we go back to the 1800s, listen to this. Back in 1896, on this day in history, Charles Dow published the first edition of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Yeah. So how did it get its name? Well, first of all, Charles Dow was a Wall Street journalist or editor, Wall Street Journal editor. And he had a business associate by the name of Edward Jones. And so they got together and co-founded this way to measure stocks for large businesses here in the United States, blue chip stock prices for these businesses. Now, remember back then, leading industries was steel and coal and electricity and sugar, I think. But here's something to keep in mind. One of the first 12 businesses that is still trading with the Dow Jones, or with the stock markets, I should say, is still operating in its original name. And that business is General Electric. So just some good trivia information, if nothing else, for you to have there. All right. Well, we do have a cafe talk that we're going to engage in later on in the show, and I'll just give you a heads up on what that is. Cafe talk for today will be, how do you think people see you, or what are they saying about you? How do you think people see you, or what are they saying about you? We will have a special guest who will be joining us within the next 10 minutes or so to help us chime in on this question and share some other important information for you as well. So just think about that. Go ahead and get it posted to Facebook if you haven't already. And later on in the show, you'll be able to call in. So let's take a quick look at some cafe news, specifically business news. Now, we just talked about the Dow Jones and the stock market. So here's how they have been doing this week. The Dow was down 58.67, as was the S&P 500, down 6.43. The NASDAQ was up 8.42. Now, stocks that are doing very well include the Foot Locker, Laboratory Corp of America Holdings, McCormick & Co., and Quest Diagnostics. Now, those that aren't doing so good include Halliburton Company, Gap Inc., Ross Stores Inc., as well as the Fiat Chrysler Automobiles NV. So that's what's happening on the stock market. I thought this was an interesting business tech news to share as well. I know you heard the story about a family who owns one of these Amazon Echo tech equipments. There's other ones out there as well, but this one happened to be an Amazon Echo. They were just sitting around having, private family conversation. And I guess, I don't know how many minutes passed, but later on they learned that their conversation had been recorded by the Amazon Echo device and then sent to a family friend. Yes. And this is an example of what people have been concerned about, when they have this technology in their home that records audio as well as video. How do you protect your privacy when you don't want the technology to do just what happened with this family? So here's some tips that has been shared. This coming from the Associated Press. One of the things they say that you can do with the smart speakers is to turn off the mic. Like, when you know that you're going to be having personal, private conversations in your house with family members or friends, you can just turn the mic off. You can disable it, and that way you're safe. You know that your conversations won't be recorded. And then during those times throughout the day and or week when you will be using the Echo device or Siri or whatever it's called, then you just turn the mic back on and you're cool. Now the same applies to the video, because some people have the video cameras for security purposes tied to all of this as well in their homes, and they're continuously running. So if you're in your home and you don't want to run the risk of your cameras being hijacked, or hacked into so that people can see you in your home doing whatever you do, just turn the camera when you're home and you're cool and you're not concerned about security. Just turn the camera away from the rooms, turn the cameras to the wall, or find a nice picture on the wall and turn the camera to that. And then when you leave the home, or you before you go to bed at night, you can put the cameras back in the proper position. And those are just some things that you can do to kind of protect yourself from what happened with this family having their conversation recorded and then sent to a family friend. I don't know what the extent of the conversation was, and I certainly hope that nothing was said about that family friend. But I guess the Echo and Siri and all those devices, when you give them commands, there's certain cue words that are used to help them do what they do. And so perhaps during the conversation, this is what Amazon is saying, and other tech experts are saying, that perhaps during the conversation that person's name was mentioned, and the Echo device thought that they were to send that information to it. I could get real spooky and go sci-fi with this conversation, but I won't. Just be careful out there, people, okay? All right. And of course, as I said earlier, it is the Memorial Day weekend, and folks are going to be hitting the roads and traveling. And what happens every year this time with the gas prices? Yes, they go up. And so AAA is, giving us a heads up in case we haven't already noticed. I know I have. That the gas prices are going up. Now, right now, they're reporting that the national average for a gallon of unleaded gasoline is now $2.96. That's on a national level. It jumped just within the last month, 29 cents. In the Chicago metro area, what we're experiencing on an average for a gallon of gas is $3.29, which just a week ago was just $3.14. And last year this time, gas was just $2.63. The good old days. Remember that? All right, I'm going to take you back a few years in a second. Here's the reason for this. And again, we all know this, right? That the gas prices go up during the start of summer, particularly during holiday weekends when they know people are going to be traveling. But they say it happens because of the demand. There's a stronger demand for the gas. And also, this is the time of year that the oil refineries undergo maintenance. And then they, of course, are preparing to switch out the lower emission fuel that people use during the summer months. And so that makes the supply not readily available, which is, of course, why the prices go up. But by the 4th of July, they are expected to peak out, hopefully not climbing too far beyond the national 296, and certainly here in the Chicagoland area, not surpassing or going too far beyond what we're experiencing now, which is the $3.29 per gallon. Remember back in 2012, it was reported the highest recorded average price for a gallon of gasoline in the greater Chicagoland area was $4.51. Remember how painful that was? Just 6 years ago, people. All right, and then of course, AAA is saying that these increase in gas prices never really deters those who hit the road during the Memorial Day weekend or the 4th of July weekend. People just, I guess, man up or woman up and bite the bullet and pay the price. They're expecting some 36.6 million drivers to hit the road this weekend, everyone, which is up 5% from just last year. So whether the price of gas goes up or not, people got to get to their families or their vacation spots or whatever it is that they're going to be doing on this weekend. All right. So listen, in the next week or two, if a friend or neighbor or someone you know in your community suddenly, and I'm talking to the Chicagoland area people, suddenly opens up a candy store, give them the side eye. I'm going to tell you why. It's reported that about $18,000 worth of candy was stolen on Thursday night from the McCormick Place. There was a convention. The 2018 Sweets and Snacks Expo was being held at the McCormick Place just Tuesday through Thursday of this past week. And I guess one of the trucks was unloading some of the candy and left a truck unattended. And when they came back, $18,000 worth of candy was gone. Now, who needs that much candy unless you plan to open up a candy store? So again, give them the side eye. All right. All right. So that's it for our business news. And let's see, what time is it? Yeah, it's pretty close to us getting our guest on the phone line. And while we do that, I just want to quickly remind you guys that we do have Cafe Talk coming up in just a bit after our conversation with my special guest. I can't wait for you to meet her and hear some of the good information that she's going to be sharing with you. Let's get her on the phone right now.
Hello.
Hello, Maria. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me good?
I hear you well. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Perfect.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to the show, Maria. How is it down there in sunny Florida?
Well, usually I would be bragging about sunny Florida, but right now it's been raining like buckets for the past 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
So absolutely. So I don't know. It's a perfect weekend to stay in. The Memorial Weekend is not going to be very successful.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, right now we're under beautiful blue skies, some clouds here and there. In fact, they're anticipating a storm will roll in later on tonight. And then, of course, we'll continue with the hot 90s that we've been experiencing here. But it's a good day because I have you finally on my show.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
All right. So let's introduce you to our viewers. Maria Lecuyer is an author, a speaker, an entrepreneur, mentor, and so much more. A former licensed pharmacist turned business executive turned entrepreneur. She's going to be sharing a lot with us in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. So I officially welcome you to the show, Maria.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's go ahead and address the Cafe Talk question, which happens to be, how do you think others see you?
Very good question. Very, very good question.
So I'm thinking, I'll tackle it first, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking the audience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I put it out there. So we'll go to social media a little bit later on in the show and see who chimes in. And then later on, open up the line. In fact, I think someone was probably calling in right then to chime in. But now is not the time, people. Call in a little bit later on in the show with your response. But how do you think others see you? That's an important question, don't you think?
It's a great question, and a lot of people don't really think about it. I mean, I'm just going to put in my perception of that, which is basically that's what it is. Image is what people visualize in their mind about you. So when they meet you and they see you, they're going to think, this is what they're going to think of you or your brand. And so it's so important, that first impression.
Yes. And so, and first impression is key, especially as you were saying when you, in those first, back in the day when we were going through training for how to do an interview and things of that nature, we were told, the first minute is so crucial when you want to present yourself a certain way to someone who does not know you or who is meeting you for the first time.
Well, absolutely. And that's a very good point, because your image, that first couple of minutes of perception, people are going to get this idea of who you are. So it's going to affect how your success in all aspects of life, from your job, your social life, even your personal relationships. But I wanted to throw in a little bit of statistics, because believe it or not, today, in today's society, especially if you're looking for a job or applying for a job, 45% of employers will go and screen candidates and take a look of what type of image they may have, even on the social media aspect, which like you said, you were going to talk about earlier. So it's so important, those few minutes, and people don't always think about that. But everybody's going to make their own visual of what they see in the first few minutes. Right. And so I'm glad you mentioned the social media piece as well, because we know that back when social media really got hot, when people were jumping on social media, I guess maybe in the late mid to early to like 2008, 2009, and so forth, we were being warned by professionals not to be very careful with how we present ourselves on social media, because although it was a personal, private situation for a lot of us, employers, what you just said, employers and others were using it to determine what kind of person you are, and using that information to determine whether or not they want you to represent their company and so forth. Well, in the last few years, it's become even more apparent and more popular. Employers will screen candidates, and they will look into their social media platforms, whether it's Facebook and LinkedIn. And people have been fired for their behavior on Facebook and LinkedIn from the corporate jungle. So it's really crucial. And what do they say? That what you say online lives forever. So what you might have done something 10 years ago, but it's still there out there in social media. So it's become, I think, more crucial, pertinent today.
Yes.
And so that image is everywhere. So you have to be really careful when it comes to the social media aspect. Absolutely. And so the question again is, how do you think others see you? Now, I've heard some psychologists and professionals say that our response to that question pretty much represents how we see ourselves, and so it can be skewed a bit, right? So, and the best way to know is to have someone else ask others on your behalf. But my response is, I think. We all evolve and change over time, right? So, but right now at this moment, I think people, others would say or view me as a positive, more outgoing person. Going back maybe 25 years, I think people would have reviewed me as more quiet and reserved.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there's different ways that people can, regarding the image, from dress, how you dress, the colors, how you have a conversation with someone can determine, they might get a perception, okay, maybe if you're more conversed in other topics, that gives the impression that maybe you are very book savvy, you're intelligent, self-confident. So those are just some of the characteristics. So, if you act professional, people respect you. If you have confidence, they look up to you. You definitely have to be authentic because they need to trust you, and that's where having the right brand comes into play when you're going into your own business and being an entrepreneur, because all that really makes a difference in how well you do in the business world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at one point, I think the experts were separating the private person from their business, so to speak, or their work. But we've learned that, over the last few years, we've learned that it all kind of intertwines, that, who you are as a person will be reflected in your work, whether it's working for others or working for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, people want to connect with you, the real you. They want you, they want to see they want to be able to trust you. So that personality has to come through. So they get to know you, so you're being authentic. And so that also is super important between your clients and your brand.
Yes.
So now it's all, in the past, I used to see a lot of personality people where you would never see their personal life exposed in social media because we're very private, But now, like what you've said absolutely is right. Now they have to see, they want to see your personal life. They want to see your family. They want to see what you do in your downtime. They want to be able to connect with you on a different level. And that, and then obviously they're going to create a perception of who you are, and in a sense that makes a difference. Today, people actually make purchases and decisions based on the association and feeling they have with you versus what the statistics and what it says on your, I guess your social media, whatever. They want to connect with you.
Yes.
And purchases, clients are based on feelings.
Yes.
The association with your brand and the trust.
Yes. All right. And so those things that you pointed out are the importance of having an effective image, because it all ties back to your work, how you're perceived in the workplace, and or as we're talking specifically to your business, your customers want to connect with you, and so it's very important to having an effective image. Now, Maria, what are some things that people can do to improve? Let's just say they missed the boat. They hadn't really thought much about it, but now they want to improve their image and specifically their business image.
Great question again. Because, let me go through some of those tips. The first thing is define your brand. There's a lot of talk lately about branding and marketing and branding. You need to define what your brand is. And once you develop, because that's going to be your personality and connection. to your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to create a brand that it's about you and your personality so you can connect with your audience. Then you need to target who is your audience, because the brand's going to go in hand with who your target audience is. A lot of people try to go with everybody. No, you're going to go to your niche and target your audience. Another thing you need to do is make sure you have a website that represents you. Because people are going to Google you, they're going to check you out. Number one, to see if you're a real person, a real business.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, for credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you have those things, you can create a very targeted campaign. Create a marketing campaign, whether that's ads and social media, email marketing, whatever, to show who you are, tell your story, your idea, so people get to know you and connect with you.
Yes.
So those are just some of the tips. You can get started right away.
Yeah. So your brand, again, for people who don't know, your brand is who you are, who your business is, and it encompasses so much more than the service or product that you present, but also, as you said, personality, things you want to keep in mind when defining your brand is your message, your overall message. Like for my show, my overall message is live, laugh, love. So I try to present content and topics that will help people accomplish that. And it even dips into color, selecting colors for your business as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's a whole big package. Colors, the dress, color has a lot to do with people. I mean, depending on what color you wear, what color's in your website, it's a visual that goes into, believe it or not, into your subconscious. And so you create your own image in your mind about that brand or that company or that owner. So all that goes into play. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it's a lot to consider, everybody. It's certainly more than a notion, but it is possible to improve your image and your business image. It's not too late to recreate yourself, right, Maria?
No, it's never too late.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's never too late.
Mm-hmm. And so you've released a couple of ebooks. One of them, of course, RX for Business Success. RX meaning prescription, right?
Yes, prescription for personal breakthrough is actually the name. It's actually an online course for startup businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And my concept is RX for success. Just like yours, you have your tagline, your concept line is RX for success.
Yeah.
Your prescription for success in life, whatever that is. Because my mission is really, I want to make the next generations better. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother. I want future generations to be happy and successful. That's the best thing we can do to leave our legacy for other people, help other people down the road.
Yes.
And so I just launched literally a few days ago, Powerful Women in the Modern World. Ebook, mostly for women. It's basically to motivate and empower women to take on this world and to take action and be an entrepreneur and go for whatever they want to go for. You can do it.
Absolutely. And of course, the RX or prescription sort of likening back to your previous profession of being a licensed pharmacist.
Correct.
Yeah.
My background it's right. My background, my whole career has been associated with pharmacy-related field, executive in a pharmacy field. So it's about helping people. And what is a prescription? The diagnosis for your problem, if you want to call it like that, and it's the solution. So that's what I try to do and help others.
Absolutely. And so if you want to learn more or sign up for the class, the online class, or even a free ebook from Maria Lecoultre, you can go to her website, marialecoultre.com, and it's spelled, her last name is spelled Lecuyer. And again, you'll find out more information on all of the services that Maria provides. And of course, there's a free ebook link on the website and opportunity for you to enroll in her online classes and the latest book, which we'll have you back. We'll have you back, Maria, to talk about the Powerful Women in the Modern World ebook that you just released.
That would be great. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Closing remarks before we go?
We can do anything we want to do.
Yes.
Do not give up.
Yes. Fantastic.
So, well, thank you again.
Okay,
Have
Maria.
a great weekend, everybody.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. And so that's Maria Lecuyer, who happens to be an author, a speaker, an entrepreneurial mentor, and so much more, as you've just heard, who tackled the Cafe Talk, which is how do you think others see you, sharing the importance of having an effective image, as well as tips on how you can improve your image and specifically your business image. You can go to her website, Maria, last name is spelled LECUYER.com, for more information. And again, we'll have Maria back later on in the summer to talk or share some pointers from her latest release, Powerful Women in the Modern World. All right, so we'll open up the phone lines again, everybody, a little bit later on before we sign off for you to chime in. There were some calls coming through as I was talking with Maria. So if that was you, just give us a minute to wrap up the rest of the show, and then we'll open up the phone lines for you to chime in on that question. How do you think others see you? How do you think others see you? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Again, I as I shared, I think that right now people see me as maybe outgoing. They probably sense a little bit reservedness in me, and a positive person. And as I stated, we all evolve as people. We all change to some degree, hopefully for the better. And I think one of my problems maybe 25, 30 years ago was being reserved and very private and not as open as I am now, not as talkative, or, maybe even being perceived as not being very friendly, but it all related to shyness. And if there's anybody out there who knows me and wants to chime in later, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. And, as I share with Maria, there's some psychologists and researchers out there who say that a person's response to that question basically kind of reflects how they feel about themselves in general. Now, the remarkable part will be if your response to that question matches what the others really do see or say about you. Okay, so before we wrap things up, we do have entertainment news. And last week we talked about American Idol and the grand finale and everything. And I mentioned that we still had some time with Dancing with the Stars and The Voice, but that was not true, because I learned this week that Dancing with the Stars wrapped up as well as The Voice. So in case you missed it, the new American Idol for 2018 is Maddie Poppy. She's a young girl, I think 19 years old. She and her boyfriend were the two finalists in this contest. Her boyfriend came in second behind her. His name was Caleb Lee Hutchison. Yeah. So, and that was one of their big announcements, announcing that they were actually a couple during that finale week. I missed the performances. I was trying to multitask and do a whole lot of things, and there was just so much good TV. So I missed the performances from Patti LaBelle and Lionel Richie and all those people, but they're available online, so I'll try to catch them at another time. All right, and then with Dancing with the Stars, they did something different this season of Dancing with the Stars by making all the contestants athletes. And I didn't catch all of the shows, but it was certainly interesting to see some of them, even though they're very athletic, they just didn't do too well. But anyway, the winner for this season's Dancing with the Stars is Adam Rippon, and his professional dancer was Jenna Johnson. So congratulations to them. And then on The Voice, the season winner for The Voice was Bren Cartelli, 15 years old. She was lucky enough to be mentored by Kelly Clarkson, who, by the way, did an excellent job hosting the Billboard Music Awards this past Sunday night. Did you see it? I was tuned in, and of course, Ed Sheeran. It was all about Ed last Sunday at the Billboard Music Awards. He walked away with several awards, Top Artist Award and Top Male Artist Award, and so many others. Taylor Swift walked away with the Top Female Artist Award. Kendrick Lamar and Bruno Mars had a pretty good night, winning awards. And then the women performances were just spectacular. Of course, J-Lo, Salt and Pepper, and Janet Jackson, who was presented with the Billboard Music Awards Icon Award, also showed up and performed, did a fantastic job. It was so good to see her back on TV. She's been doing concerts over the years here and there, and people have been catching her on stage, but we hadn't seen her on television, right? So it was really good to see her back on television, looking good as ever, and of course performing just like she did 20, 30 years ago. All right, and speaking of the Jacksons, specifically Michael Jackson, again, there was this 2-hour documentary that aired on ABC on Thursday. I missed it, but anyway, it was a special about the end of Michael Jackson's life. Now, his estate has been objecting to this documentary. They called it crass. They said it was a poor attempt to exploit Michael Jackson without even having respect for his legacy or his children. Now, of course, ABC responded by saying that the program doesn't infringe on Michael Jackson's estate rights, but as a courtesy, they did remove a specific image from the piece and the promotional package. So again, it aired Thursday. I have no clue what this was all about, but it aired Thursday night, and one Thursday night in terms of viewership, apparently some 5.6 million people tuned in to see it. I missed it. Hopefully it'll rerun or I'll catch it online somewhere, but again, the family was not for this documentary at all. Okay, movies. I'm going to do some catching up on movies in the next week or so. And one of them that I want to see is Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, anybody who knows me know that I don't do the Star Wars and all this, the Black Panther stuff and all that. I'm not a person for it. But what has piqued my interest is the depiction, using more African Americans in the depiction of superheroes and, of course, in space. And so Donald Glover, who is also known as Childish Gambino, is one of those in this Solo, a Star Wars story. He, according to the critics, did a spectacular job in this film. I want to see it to, see. Now, I know I did catch him on Saturday Night Live a week or so ago as he hosted and performed. And he's been getting a lot of buzz about this politically powerful song and video that was recently released called This Is America. This movie, Solo, a Star Wars story, is set to top the Memorial Day weekend at the box office. So we'll see. Another one that I've been hearing a lot about is this book club movie. I want to see it. Now, Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, and Mary Steenburgen are all starring in the film. And of course, it opened last weekend, and it's about, you know, these middle-aged women who are at different stages in their lives coming together in this book club and just having some great adventures. So I'm hearing that it's really good, and I'm going to check it out, and I hope you join me in checking it out as well. All right, are you ready for some basketball? Well, I've been checking it out, missing some of the games or parts of some of the games, but nevertheless tuned in for the NBA playoffs. And of course, last night, I didn't catch all the game, but I caught the most important part, the last 20 minutes or so, when LeBron and the Cavaliers pushed and forced a game 7, right? They tied the series up, nail biters. Boston, will it be Boston or the Cavaliers again? Well, we just have to hold on and wait and see. But LeBron scored some 46 points. And of course, the Cavaliers lost Kevin Love, who was so crucial to the team at this point. He had a head injury that happened in last night's game against the Celtics. So to what extent was he injured? We don't know. Will he be out for game 7? We don't know, but we certainly can't wait for this next series to determine who will represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. Will it be Boston or Cleveland? All right. And then in the Western Conference, of course, it's Houston, the Rockets versus the Golden State Warriors. It's been reported that Chris Paul from the Rockets, who is so crucial to the team, will possibly miss game 6, which is tonight, against the Golden State Warriors. And then if it goes or carries on to game 7, will he be back for that? We just don't know. But right now, Houston is up 3-2 in the series. So who's it going to be? Houston or the Golden State Warriors? We'll see. I'm sure next time I'm back on the not the radio, YouTube, we'll be talking about it. All right. That's it. All right. So let's see if we got some people who want to call in or chime in for Cafe Talk. 815-254-73. What am I giving you? I'm giving you the radio station call-in number. It's 815-593-1695. 815-593-1695. If you want to chime in on the Cafe Talk, which is, how do you think others see you? How do you think others see you? We'll see if we can jump over to at least Facebook and see if folks chimed in on that particular question. How do you think others see you? Of course, you can always chime in later, and I'll at some point get back to the social media later in the day or tonight, just to kind of see what people had to say about that question. But how do you think others see you? How do you think others see you? Doesn't look like we got any people chiming in. Someone told me that I should try to post it the night before, because something to do with the cycle and how Facebook works. Some people don't see the post until later. I don't know how true that is, but I didn't get it posted until about an hour or so before the show started. But nevertheless, we'll keep it up there and see if we get any comments from it. All right. All right. Well, if we don't get anyone calling in, now the phone was jumping off the hook when I had Maria on earlier as a special guest, and now I can't get it to ring. But that's how it is, right? All right. So here we are wrapping up the show. Of course, I want to thank my guest for today, Maria Lecuyer, for stopping by the show and sharing some good information tied to our cafe talk, which is how you think others see you. And also, I want to remind you guys that there will not be a show next Saturday. We're taking a little break, but we will be back that following Saturday, which I believe is the 10th, June 9th or 10th. So make sure you tune in and be sure to check in at the social medias, on Twitter, Marilyn's Cafe Soch, on Facebook, Marilyn's Cafe Society, of course, Maryland'sCafeSociety.com, and be sure to share this YouTube broadcast, Marilyn's Cafe Society on YouTube, like it, subscribe, and share, okay? All right. That's it, everybody. I got to tell you what love is before we go. Love is light showers accompanied by prolonged cuddles. I like that. And yeah, so if you don't do anything else this week, and certainly this Memorial Day weekend, be sure that you live, you laugh, and by all means, love. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege. We'll do it all over again in 2 Saturdays. Be safe out there, everybody. Peace. Happy Memorial Day weekend.